All right, good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, or good morning, or whenever it is that you are watching this lecture. Welcome to Online Personal Finance, Round 2. A couple of quick things before we get started. Number one, some of you guys said last time that my mic was a little bit too low, so I've turned my mic up as far as it will go on the volume side. So if I'm still a little bit too soft, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to turn off your own microphone or I don't know, get some noise canceling headphones or something. But let me know if my volume is better this time, if it's a little bit too loud or a little bit too soft, etc., etc. A couple of quick updates for you guys. UNCC has officially postponed graduation. So if you are a graduating senior or if you have friends who are graduating seniors, there will be no commencement ceremony in May as planned. So far, there has been no talk of when they're actually going to have a graduation ceremony, if it might be a little bit later in August, or if they're going to maybe combine ceremonies like in December. It's a little bit still up in the air, so we don't really know what the deal with that is. There's also no update on any refunds for housing or other fees like meal plans. The university hasn't talked about it yet, so we'll see if they come up with a plan for that a little bit later. There are laptops available at Atkins. I got an email about it the other day. So if your laptop is very old, or if it just isn't running well and all of your classes are online now, you can go to Atkins Library and check out a laptop for free. And you can take it home with you as long as you give it back to them. There's no additional charge unless it's broken or damaged. Because of the kind of way that this has worked out, you guys are going to have some quizzes due on Sunday for this round for banking. You do have grad ready quizzes 4 and 5 due by Sunday at 11, and you also have your banking quiz due Sunday at 11. Keeping in mind that all this information is, I have it down here at the bottom. It's currently 8:51 p.m. on 3/22, so all this information could change by tomorrow morning. Just the situation is still obviously really rapidly evolving, and this is the latest I have at this moment. So the time you're watching this video and listening to me talk about this could be totally outdated. Who knows? It's a little bit of a surprise. But your quizzes, those are not going to change. They're still going to be due Sunday at 11. Please make sure that you are actually doing them, because if you don't do them, I have to plug in a 0 on Canvas, and it's going to bring down your grade. And I obviously don't want to do that. So please make sure that you are taking your quizzes, that you are staying on top of that. Your calendar on Canvas, I still am updating that, so it is still reflective of what we're doing and of the assignments that are due. And I promise anytime something changes, I will go and update the calendar. Today's lecture on balancing your bank account should be a little bit shorter. Hopefully it's not going to be 40 minutes like last lecture was, but who knows? We'll see. I still can't go backwards on any of this, so if you guys need me to go backwards on any slide, you're just going to have to reverse me yourself. I don't know. I've looked up and Googled on how to move backwards when PowerPoint is in this mode, and I still can't figure it out. So woohoo, there we go. All right, so today we are balancing your bank account, or we're going to talk about how to balance your bank account. Every month, your financial institution, your commercial bank, your credit union, etc., whichever one that you feel matches with your needs best, whichever one you've chosen, will send you an account statement. Some people will call it like a bank statement. Some people will call it like a bank balance statement before. That's what my grandmother used to call it. I've always just called them account statements, and I don't know. There are 1,000 different terms for it. But all you need to know is that an account statement is a list of all the transactions that a bank has on record for your checking account. And that's things like deposits, so all the money that's going into your account, whether it's through a job or money that you physically deposit, like cash, checks that you deposit into your account, whatever else, as well as all the withdrawals, so all the money going out of your account. So if you're writing a check for rent, or you paid your electricity bill online or your water bill online, your account statement is going to reflect all of that. You will get one account statement per checking account at a bank. So if for some reason you have 2 checking accounts at a bank, you are going to get 2 account statements. If you have a credit card, you will get a separate credit card statement, and the credit card statement will function the exact same way. The only account at a bank that you will not receive a statement for is a savings account, but that's just if you have a very, that's just if your savings account is a pure savings account. So if you have an account that doubles as like a savings and an checking account and an investment account, kind of like what we talked about last time, you will still receive a statement for that. Kind of the moral is that if you are constantly exchanging money in and out of this account, you're probably going to get an account statement. Your account statement is going to look a little bit like this. I just kind of typed this up really quickly. So you can see here that, let's see, ooh, why is that not working anymore? Ooh, I got it. All right, so you can see up here that there's going to be a description. So you got a bonus from Penny's Pizza on February 20th for $500. That's actually a pretty high bonus. You paid for the city of Charlotte $61.78 on 2/25, and you used check number 9 for that. So this is essentially what a bank statement is going to look like. It could look a little bit like the picture was in the last screen, and now I kind of wish I could go back and show you, but you can't do that when PowerPoint is in this mode. Somebody write a letter to Bill Gates. But that's essentially what it's going to look like. It's going to have all your additions down in this column. It's going to have all of your subtractions over in this column. It'll have your ending balance for every single transaction that you make over in this column. And it's also going to have your starting balance for the month and your ending balance for the month. So your account statement is going to look very, very similar to your cash flow statement. You can kind of think of your account statement as the bank's version of your cash flow statement. It's the bank's idea of how much money you have in your account. And every time that you receive an account statement, you need to make sure that you balance your account. That means that making sure that both you and the bank agree on how much money you should have in your account. Older generations, like your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, might call it balancing a checkbook. Balancing your bank account and balancing your checkbook are the exact same thing. Before banking was done primarily online, people had checkbooks. Well, I mean, people still have checkbooks, but checkbooks were the primary way that people kept track of all the money that was going in and out of their account. And so people would call it balancing a checkbook. But nowadays, banking is mostly done online. And so people generally just call it balancing your account or balancing your bank account. So the purpose of balancing is that while rare, banks can actually make mistakes when adding or subtracting money into your account. You have to remember that banks are not perfect, and I use this word banks to mean any type of financial institution. I just typed out bank because it was shorter. But any financial institution can actually make a mistake on giving you too much money or subtracting too much money. It happens. Machines are not perfect. People are not perfect. And when this does happen, the fault is going to lie with you. So if you meant to deposit $100 into your account and Bank of America deposited $1,000 into your account, number one, they're going to take back $900 of that, and if you don't have $900 of that and they overdraw you, they are going to issue you a fee. I kind of have this jokey picture up here, in capitalist America, bank rob you. And it's kind of funny, but in this case, it can be a little bit true. So when something happens in your bank account and a bank makes a mistake, the fault is going to lie with you. You can't, go to a bank and say, well, oh, I'm going to sue you. Because not only are you not going to be able to face down their team of lawyers, but generally when you open up an account with a bank, you have to sign a contract, and your contract will have something along the lines of, if a mistake happens in your account, it's on you. It's not on the bank. Banks also sometimes are very, very slow to report transactions into your account, especially during times of high traffic. So like tax season and the holiday season, for example, when people are constantly moving money in and out of their account, buying gifts or depositing checks as gifts, or trying to hide money away in Swiss bank accounts. They don't have to report it on their taxes. During these like really, really high traffic times, banks can be very, very slow. It might take them a couple of days. So say, for example, I don't know, you went to Starbucks, which I guess you can't do anymore now because Starbucks is closed because of coronavirus. But let's say you did go to Starbucks because there wasn't coronavirus, and you spent $7 on a drink at Starbucks. It might take your bank 3 or 4 days to actually report that transaction and take that money out of your account. And if you don't balance your account, you can end up thinking that you have more money than you actually do and accidentally overspend. The opposite of that is also true. You might think you have less money than you actually do, And so you kind of freak out and go, oh my God, well, I'm not going to buy, anything because I have to save money and I have way less money than I thought I did. And in reality, your money balance is fine, and all that money that you didn't think all that money that you didn't think that you had, could have gone into a savings account or an investment account where it could have actually grown. But more than likely, you'll probably end up thinking you have more money than you actually do, and you're going to end up overspending, and that's going to impede you from meeting your financial goals, whatever they are. This way, you can also catch any fraudulent expenses. People have hacked into your account and taking out your money. Generally, hackers, when they do or get into your account, they will take out money slowly over a period of months or years, and it's generally very small transactions that you're less likely to notice. So it might be like $10 here, $20 here, maybe occasional $50, $2. They're just going to an ATM machine and taking out money, and the idea is that the smaller the transaction is, the less likely you are to notice and the less likely you are to kick them out, which will give them access to your account for a long period of time. I have over here on the joke, if you guys have ever seen The Office, identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer from it every year. Hacking into your account isn't necessarily a form of identity theft, but it can make identity theft a lot easier for a person if they're able to see like where you live and what kind of job you have. It's that one step closer to getting more serious things like your social security card or your credit card number, and going and being able to rack up hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt in your name, which you're going to end up being responsible for. So balancing your account is going to help prevent all those fraudulent expenses. If you notice that something is off with your account, you're going to be able to report it to the bank, kick that person out, change your password, secure your money, do whatever else that you have to make sure that your hard-earned money stays into your account. You can also check to see if your automatic payments are actually going through. This is very important because I've had multiple friends where this has happened to them, that they set up automatic payments and for whatever reason didn't go through. They didn't have enough money in their account. There was just a system glitch, and they ended up getting charged for it, or something bad happened to them. They ended up having to pay interest. So, for example, let's say that you have your electricity bill to set up to pay automatically every month. And one day you don't have enough money in your account. There's just a glitch in the system. The payment fails to go through. It could result in your power being cut off. It could also result in the electric company charging you a fee or interest. So they might say, well, not only do you owe us, making up a number here, $30 for the electricity bill that you didn't pay. Now we're going to charge you interest, and now it's a $35 fee. It's a $15 late fee, so now that's $50. We're going to add on this other $10 fee for whatever reason, just because we feel like it, so now it's $60. And it's just a way for companies to take advantage of you and get more money. It could also lower your credit score. Typically, something like an electric bill or forgetting to pay an electric bill isn't going to lower your credit score. I'll admit I've done that once or twice. I forgot to pay my electricity bill, and it has never lowered my credit score. But for something a little bit more serious, like for not paying off a credit card, for example, that will absolutely lower your credit score. And when we get to talking more about credit, I'll mention more of the things that do lower your credit. But, I mean, depending on the bill that you have to set up to pay automatically, failing to pay it, or whenever there's a glitch, could result in your credit score being a lot lower. So you're probably asking yourself at this point, how do you balance an account? Well, balancing an account is actually fairly easy if you're already keeping and maintaining financial records. If you guys have seen maybe older movies or talked to your parents about it, you might have heard your parents say things like, "Oh, I hate balancing my account. It's so stressful." Well, it's stressful because they didn't have access to online banking like most of you guys do. And oops, sorry if you guys heard that. That was my cellular device. Let me make sure that wasn't an email from UNCC that just negated everything that I told you guys at the beginning. Oh, it's not. It's from Rachel Ashworth. I don't know who that is. Ooh, she's the head of customer success at Swivel. I'm just going to delete that email. So if you guys have heard your parents talking about it, your parents have probably said it's very, very stressful, but it's a lot easier for our generation because we do have access to online bank statements, so we don't have to rely on paper. And as long as you're keeping and maintaining financial records, you're going to keep that hassle down to a minimum. And the good news is that you really only have to balance your account once a month. That's only 12 times a year. Um, you can do it a little bit more often than that if you want. Like you can do it once a week just using your bank's online tracker. But most people should just, or most people just wait for their account statement to arrive, and that's personally what I recommend. Especially now, like most of you guys are pretty young. You're right around my age, 24, 25, 26, 27, somewhere around that. So your finances probably are not going to be all that complicated, and it's going to be a little bit easier to keep track of them. As your finances get more and more complicated, they grow and grow and grow. You might have to switch to maybe like balancing your account once every 2 weeks, just to make sure that all of your money is staying in one place. You certainly don't have to. I mean, you can still stick with once a month, but it's as long as you're balancing your account at some point. So step number one is just tracking all the money that's going in and out of your account, aka making a cash flow statement. Recording all of the money that comes into your account, like for example, I think I've already showed this to you guys before. Things like, you got your job and you were paid $562. You were dog sitting and you got paid $25. You got a gift from somebody and that was $50. As well as keeping track of all of your expenses. So things like rent, water, electricity, internet, groceries, gas, going to the movies, any type of entertainment, recreation. Just making sure that you're keeping track of all the money that you're spending so that you know how much money you have in your account. So if the bank does make a mistake, you can kind of like go behind and check. Step number two is just comparing and contrasting. So once you get your cash flow statement, make sure that you just compare it to your account. Make sure that you compare it to your account state. Or I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. So you're going to look at your cash flow statement and compare it to your account statement. Well, if I loved you guys enough, I would go back and edit that out, but I don't love you enough, and it's late, and I'm tired, so deal with it. So just make sure that all of your deposits add up. So you can see here that you have, or your bank, the Bank of Charlotte, says that you have 2 deposits, and I don't know how many expenses that is, but you have all those expenses. So just looking at the ones, are there any ones that you don't recognize, anyone that you disagree about? If you got a job or for the deposit, maybe you were actually supposed to be paid $35, or there's another mysterious deposit in there. You want to make sure that you're kind of keeping track of that. So here's kind of how you do this. Excuse me. So because the bank can sometimes be very, very slow at reporting transactions, the best thing that you can do is to keep descriptions and keep the amount. That's why I recommend when you guys are making your cash flow statements that you do have some type of description and you do have some type of date so you can match things up. So for example, over here on February 5th, there we go. So on February 5th, you received a deposit for $562. You can go and compare this to your account statement, and you can see that, yes, on February 5th, you received a deposit from Penny's Pizza, which is maybe where your job is, for $562.18. You can also see, for example, that rent you paid on February 1st was $200. However, your bank was a little bit slow, and that amount didn't actually clear your bank until February 2nd. And you can kind of also see here in the description, when you actually pay something or pay somebody with a check or send somebody money, you can add a little bit of a description. So the description here says rent, and you guys can't see this, but I'm pointing on my screen, and I don't know why, because I know you guys can't see me. But it says rent over there, so that's kind of how you know that it's rent. And the descriptions match. You can also see that on February 12th, it was your friend Bob's birthday, so you took him out somewhere. But if you go and you look at your bank statement or your account statement, you're going to notice that that did not come through until the 13th, and it doesn't actually say, or on your account statement, it doesn't actually say Bob's birthday. It just says Applebee's store locator 513205 blah 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 for $16.98. So maybe on your cash flow statement, writing down Bob's birthday wasn't exactly the best decision. Maybe you should have written down things like Applebee's - Bob's birthday, or some idea of where you spent that money. but you can compare the amounts withdrawn on your cash flow statement and your account statement, and you can kind of match them up that way. You'll also notice that you are missing your gift, and you're also missing your movies. They did not show up on your account statement. And as such, your ending statements are going to be a little bit different. So I know that I told you guys that in most cases, the bank is going to say you have more money than you actually do. But in this case, the bank is saying that you have less money than you actually do. And that's because your charge for the movies for $23.97 didn't go through, but now that they did your deposit for your gift, maybe the bank was a little bit slow, maybe February 17th. I don't actually know what day that was, but maybe that happened over a weekend, and the bank, for whatever reason, has been a little bit slow in reporting that. That's totally fine. So if something is in your record, but not the bank's, don't just go and delete it from your record because you know that you actually spent that money. It's not that the bank or it's not like the bank just forgot about it or decided to overlook it or decided to pay that bill for you. I used to have a roommate who thought that, so that's why I'm saying that. It's just because the payment or deposit hasn't gone through yet. So, for example, your gift for $50. It's not that the bank just forgot about your gift or decided to eat up that money. It just hasn't shown up in your account yet, and it's not like the bank is going to pay your whatever amount it was, $23.97 for going to the movies. It just hasn't shown up on your account. So instead, when you're looking at your ending balances, go ahead and compare the bank's ending balance to your own ending balance without accounting for those transactions. So from your account statement's balance, or from your account statement's ending balance, subtract the payments in your record that have not yet cleared your bank, and go ahead and add the deposits that haven't yet cleared. So this new balance should match up with the balance in your own record. If it doesn't, and you're like a couple cents off or you're a couple dollars off, you're gonna want to go back through your account statement and your cash flow statement to try and find out where that difference is or why that you have two different numbers. It could be that you're writing something down and you switch two digits. So, for example, I don't know, fast food here. You wrote down that you spent $8.63. Maybe you only spent $8.36, and you just kind of flip those numbers by mistake. It happens all the time. It's not a big deal, but that is going to be money that you want to account for. So in other words, again, you're comparing the bank's ending balance to your own ending balance. You keep adding and subtracting those numbers excuse me, until both you and the bank agree. And again, the purpose of that is to make sure that you know where exactly your money is going. If there is money that you can't figure out where it's going, it could be a fraudulent charge. It could be a bank's mistake. And if you're owed money by the bank, you want to make sure that the bank pays up. Or, the flip of that is that if you owe the bank money, you want to make sure that you pay that money to the bank as soon as you can, so that way you don't incur any fees or anything else that the bank is going to kind of frown upon you guys for. And once you do that, once your ending balances match, you're finished. So you just have to make sure that you correct any errors on your end, on your cash flow statement, make sure that you report to the bank any errors on their end so that they can fix it. And you save your account statement along with your cash flow statement for that month somewhere in case you ever need it again. I know that kind of me talking about this over the computer isn't exactly the best way to explain this. So you guys might have to go through and replay the video over and over again. And I apologize for that. I actually had something planned for us to sit down and do an actual project where you guys would have to balance balance bank account statements. But obviously we can't do that anymore because of coronavirus. Yay. So thank you guys for kind of sticking with me. The big thing that you have to remember for this is that you are comparing your ending balance all the way down here to the bank's ending balance. And you're just trying to find where you and the bank disagree on money. And it could be that the bank, for whatever reason, hasn't processed your gift yet. It could be something that the bank has not processed you going to the movies yet. Or it could be something where, where was that? Ooh, all right. So for the fast food, for example, you wrote down that you spent $8.63, but it was only $8.36. So you're just trying to make sure that both you and the bank agree on how much money is in your account. And it's because you don't actually have your money with you. The bank has your money, and you want to make sure that they're doing the correct things with it. You want to make sure that they're putting money into your account when you put money into your account, that they're taking money out when you take money out of your account. And it's just going to help you meet your financial goals in the future, give you a more realistic idea of where you are, so again, you can kind of get to where you're going. All of this is going to boil back down to whatever your financial goals are, which is why we kind of started this course with that. So with that, we're actually done, and we're only 25 minutes into the lecture. Hallelujah. So just remember that you guys, please, please, please complete the survey on Canvas. It does account for attendance, and it also lets me know kind of how you guys are feeling about these lectures. Like, for example, I would have never known if that my microphone was turned down way too low if nobody had pointed that out to me. And if you guys feel like this YouTube thing the second time around isn't working out and you guys have had some time to think about it and maybe think about another way that we could do lectures, like I know that some classes have talked about Zoom. If you guys want to look into Zoom a little bit and maybe try that out, kind of let me know. Make sure that you guys are also completing your grad ready quizzes 4 and 5. That is due by this Sunday by 11. You guys also have your banking quiz due Sunday by 11. And when I send out the announcement explaining how to get this module finished tomorrow morning, I will make sure to unlock both of those things for you. Again, thank you guys for sticking with me. I know that this has been confusing and scary and a lot of adjustments, but I think overall we're actually in a pretty good spot. I think that this whole YouTube thing might actually work out. I feel pretty good about it. If you guys obviously don't feel good about it, please let me know. Say something in the survey. Yeah, I think that's it. So I hope you guys are all staying healthy. Hope you guys are all staying in, practicing your social distancing. Make sure that you stay up to date on what's happening in North Carolina. I've heard rumors that North Carolina is going to have a shelter in place starting next week, but again, that's just a rumor. Make sure that you guys are staying up to date with UNCC, what their procedures are. Things like, are they going to reimburse people for any type of housing fees for those of you guys that live on campus? Make sure that you guys are following them on Twitter. Make sure that you guys are checking Niner alerts, and stay healthy. And again, if you guys have any questions, send me a message on Canvas, send me an email, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. All right. I think there was something else I wanted to say. Now I can't remember what it was. All right. Well, bye, everyone. I will talk to you on Wednesday.